and we are heading to a pottery class today. Wait, is it this way? Okay,
Then
okay.
we go left.
Sorry, I'm like disoriented. I'm just like following blindly and assuming Corey knows where we're gonna go. But yeah, we're almost there. They said we can stream there, so hopefully I'm praying that we have good cell service and reception. Yeah, seems like it's decent-ish right now. Yeah, it's not that bad. I feel like it's a hit or miss. Like sometimes when you walk around you're lucky, and then sometimes it just like keeps cutting out.
Yeah.
And I've never been in this area.
Did you stream when you traveled?
When I traveled?
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, a little bit, but I was just indoors in Korea, so I didn't get to do like IRL streaming. The only IRL streaming I did was at the airport when I was about to fly back to LA because I was like stuck there for 6 hours. Yeah. But
And IRL streaming in Korea is so good.
I've heard. I'm so sad I missed
It was probably
out.
so cold, I guess, when you went.
Yeah, it was still pretty chilly when I went, and I would have loved to go out, but I think I only had like 3 days after the quarantine period.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to like risk catching COVID because then they won't let you on the plane.
Oh, then you have to extend it.
Yeah, and then I have to extend it, and I'd have to like I wouldn't be able to go back to my grandma's place. I would have to like get a hotel or something, and so I don't want to go through all that.
Or actually, we can cross right there too. You wanna run?
Oh, I'm sorry, my reaction time is so bad.
I was like,
Okay, I was counting down at like 2, 1, and then I was like, oh shoot, like yeah, okay, there goes our chance at crossing. Okay, here we go. Oh, hi Chapa, hi Nezu, hi Kevin, hey Phantom, hi Craig, hey Diglett. Sorry, the font was kind of hard to read. But yeah, we're heading to a pottery class.
That's a big class.
Yeah. Ooh, is
It's
it?
perfect timing, anyways.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's that, right? It's
Yeah.
so cute. Okay. Yes.
Little cute little studio.
Look, it's the studio in blue. It looks uber cute. Very, very excited for this pottery class. Wow, it must be brand new. The paint looks fresh.
Yeah, I think they are brand new. I feel like they don't have the new
Yeah.
reviews on Milk yet.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm so excited. Pottery studio. Okay, and we're a couple minutes late. Hopefully they haven't started too much, but wow, look. Oh, and there's a gym nearby. That was part of the park. Irene?
Elisa?
These 6 wheels with the blue bats.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Okay, so sorry. We'll just take a seat over here. Oh my God, so cute. Wow. I'm excited. Look. The gamers, thank you so much for subscribing. Uh-oh. I think, oh, it cut out for a little bit, but I think it's coming back. We'll see.
Maybe they have Wi-Fi.
Oh, it's back. Yes. Okay. Sorry. It's just I have to stop walking around, but I think you guys are back. Let me just flip you guys around. Oh, Instinct World. Oh, sorry. JTV, thank you for hosting. Okay. Remind me not to leave my purse.
Put it.
Oh yeah. I'm hopefully I'll forget. This is so cute. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Stuff
I'm
we can
really
make.
excited. Oh, you're right. This makes me want to like already sign up for like a monthly class or something.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to see if I can do my own like pottery, just like put in the oven. You can. I think there's some that you can, but not all.
Oh yeah. They do have like clays that you can bake at like lower temperatures and
Yeah.
everything, but like I'd just be so scared to leave my oven on that long. Okay, let me show you guys. I'm sorry for the stutter, but hopefully it'll be okay if we're close to the window. Actually, it is fading in and out.
Can you guys scoot down just one wheel? That would be great. I'll probably give these last two another 2-3 minutes or something to pop in. But I'm gonna start with a demo. So we're gonna be making 2 bowls tonight. I'm gonna demonstrate how to make a bowl. I'll do it pretty quick, maybe 5-10 minutes, and I'll take you through all of the steps that it's going to take to get to our finished bowl. Once I'm finished, I'll cut it off, I'll set it aside, and then we will all make a bowl together. It'll probably take about 45 minutes, and then we'll make a second one together as well. We're just going to go through the whole process together, step by step. Tonight I'm going to be teaching you the fundamentals of pottery on the wheel. So if you take a look over at these shelves, if you look at this shelf, these hanging pots, all of that stuff starts with what we're learning tonight. So once you really perfect everything that we're learning tonight, you could make any of this stuff that's up here. We're going to go over almost every single technique. Your pots tonight probably aren't going to look quite like these ones, but that's good. They're not supposed to be great on your first try. If you're getting your pot's getting a little wobbly, whatever, just have fun with it. We're not here to be master potters. We're here to have a good time and play with some clay. I'm just going to get started. If they show up in a couple minutes, it doesn't really matter. I'm just doing demos. So, on these little blue squares, these are called bats, like a baseball bat. There are 4 holes. There's 2 that are wider. They're outside of the squares here. Use those ones, and I'm just going to attach those to my bat pins here. I might just smack it down once. But make sure that it's actually connected onto those bat pins, because if it's not and you start your wheel, it's going to fly off and go flying across the room. Before I really do get started here, we're going to spend the next couple hours together, so be fun for, a good little higher. But what's helpful about coning in is right now I've only worked out, the clay was about this wide, right? So I've worked out this much clay that was there before. I haven't gotten all the way into the core of the clay yet, so there might be some twists and turns on the very center of it. So it's helpful to get all of that, you know, really pushed in there. And we don't need to go quite this high, but it's you know, that's basically what we're doing, is we're getting all of that clay worked, and then we're gonna push it. Now it's mostly all in the center, and I'm gonna push it back down, and it's gonna be like a domed hockey puck shape. So when I push down, I don't wanna push straight down. If I push straight down, it's gonna start to get kinked and go kind of crazy. Like this. If I push down like I'm honking a horn, like this, it will just naturally feed into itself. It's gonna kind of go forward at first, but then it'll just settle into itself. So with my dominant hand on top, I'm pushing like this. And see how it's kind of tilting over right now? If I just keep pushing, it just keeps going. So with my dominant hand, I'm at the top, but I'm pushing forward. My weak hand is just here to contain it. Because if I push really hard, I keep going and going and going with my dominant hand, it's just gonna get flatter and wider and wider and wider and wider. So I wanna have my weak hand here to contain. And I'm using a decent amount of force with my weak hand to really hold it into place. So, I mean, both hands together would look like this. You can't really see it that well, but if everybody wants to take your dominant hand like this, take your weak hand, put it out like you're shaking a hand. Take your dominant hand and put it perpendicular so your hands are in a T. If your hands are not perpendicular, make them perpendicular. You're gonna find yourself doing this a lot when you're trying to center stuff. If this clay can escape through my hands here, you're not really doing much. So make sure that it's perpendicular and there's no hole between, you know, in here. We wanna have this closed off. So I'm pushing down with my palm and I'm going into my weak hand here. My weak hand is just there to contain, and actually, I do end up, once it gets low enough, I'll end up pushing with my thumb pad, palm pad here of my weak hand. So my weak hand would look like this. I'm pushing here, right? But I'm also kind of wrapping my pinky and my ring finger around it just to contain it. So I'm pushing down here, and I'm pushing down here with both hands. Now, we've got this clay nice and centered. That wobble is taken out of it. It's kind of in this hockey puck shape. The next step is going to be opening our clay. Now, I'm just going to use my thumb to open it. Some people like to do two thumbs. I feel that sometimes my thumbs get caught and they kind of work against each other a little bit if I use both. So I'll just use one thumb, and I take my weak hand to hold that thumb steady and use more control. If I just use my thumb and I want to make sure that my dominant hand is attached to the wheel. Similar to like if you were gonna write with a pencil, you wouldn't write like this, right? You would have your hand on the table usually to just make sure that you have some more control. This is the same thing. So if I have my hand up here, my thumb starts to get caught, does some crazy stuff. If I have it here, I'm just gonna push down in, and I'm using my other hand to use extra force and extra control. Once I get in maybe like a ½ inch or so, it's gonna start to get dry again. So I'll just take my hand, get some water on it, and now I can push all the way down, and I'm giving myself like a ½ inch to a ½ inch from the bottom. If you push all the way through, your pot's gonna be a planter, not a bowl, and that's okay, but we're gonna try to make bowls. If you push all the way through, there's not any saving it. It's just gonna have a hole at the bottom.
Oh.
So just don't push all the way to the bottom. It's not that scary. You'll be okay. And if that happens, we're making 2 pots tonight anyways, so you'll have a second chance. Once I've pushed down on the clay, now I'm gonna open it. So I'm just gonna do the same hand placement, resting my dominant hand on the side. Instead of pushing my thumb down, I'm just gonna pull it towards me, and that will open up the inside here, and it'll turn this donut into more like, these will be more like walls, rather than like a rounded donut shape. So I'm just gonna pull this towards me. And now it's opened up a lot more, right? If you have some ridges like this, that's no problem, that's probably going to happen. Once we get this wide, our base has been opened up a bit here. But we actually, it might seem a little counterintuitive, but we actually want to close this back off. Now, if you've ever been like to the fair and you've been on that ride that just spins super fast and you get pinned against the wall like that, that's exactly what's happening here, except our hands are the walls. If that ride had no walls, you would go flying across the fairgrounds, right? Well, if this has no walls, it's gonna go flying across the Pottery studio. So I want to bring this in, and I'm just gently collaring it back in, basically just choking it back in, because we want everything to be more central. If everything is more centralized and spinning in the middle, it's going to be a lot easier to control it. The clay's not going to get super out of whack. If I have a wobble, it will be way more easy to control and contain here than if it gets wider. It only is going to want to go wider and wider and wider and crazier and crazier and crazier and bigger. So I'm going to keep everything central here, always pulling my walls in this volcano shape. If you have like a little skirt at the bottom here, that's going to happen pretty often. Before each of my pulls, I generally just take my finger, I'll push it down into the back, and then I'll come here and just clean that up. Just take some of that off and then scrape it on my bucket here. Also, if you ever have slip on your hands, slip is just liquid clay, just scrape it off into your bucket, because what's going to happen is that slip is going to eat up all that water, and then it's going to get more and more and more slip, and it's going to eat your water way faster. Also, I would say you probably want to get your clay wet like every 10 seconds or something for the entire time. So you're going to use a lot of water. Once we're here, I'm going to start pulling my walls up. What I'm really doing is I'm taking my dominant hand, I'm putting my thumb over my other thumb, my dominant thumb on top. With my weak hand, I'm going to use my rock stars, I call them, just because it's easy to remember rock on. So I'm going to throw those rock stars with my weak hand on the inside. And I use my pointer finger of my dominant hand on the outside. Now my pointer finger, if I point it straight down, I can point it out, I can open it out, and then I'm just using my fingertip to push into the clay. I can bring it in, and I can use this whole surface area. Sometimes if you use a little bit more surface area, especially when this clay is really thick, that can give you a little bit more control. If you're squeezing all of it at once, that will thin it out. So for the first pull that I do, I generally start by using a little bit more surface area. And what I'm doing here is I'm just squeezing my fingers together. And then once I feel like I've got some clay squeezed, I'm just going to start slowly moving my hands up and stretching that clay taller and taller and taller. And once I get to the top, I will gently take my hands off, get some more water, and come back to it and do it again. So it kind of looks like this. I'm going to squeeze in with a little bit more surface area just to grab all this clay down here at the bottom. Once I feel like I've squished it a little bit, I'm going to start to pull my fingers up. Now we got a little bit of height out of that pull, right? My rim here is really thin, and it has some slip on it. The more that I leave that alone, the more it's going to just get kind of thinner and thinner and more crazy. So after each pull, I like to compress the rim. I'll take my pinchers on my weak hand and just rest them on the side of the rim. And then I take my pointer finger or my thumb of my dominant hand and rest it on top of it. Now what happens if I just use my pointer finger is it's going to take this slip and this thin spot and it's just going to move it to the outside or the inside. But watch this. I didn't actually clean it up. Kind of got worse. That's why I keep these two just resting on the side. These ended up cleaning up the side. Now it's only on the side, so it's not cleaning the top. So I'm just using all three, pushing down a little bit. And that'll make that rim a little bit thicker and kind of clean up that slip. So I do that each time. After I do that, I'm just going to do my second pull. I'm just going to get a little bit taller. So I'm squeezing in. When I squeeze in here, you kind of want to form a little ridge. Once you've formed a small little ridge by squeezing in, then you've gripped the clay enough Then you can just start to pull that clay up slowly, and every single movement in pottery is slow. There's not a single thing that you should be doing fast. All of them go really slow and methodical. The clay is what's really doing the moving. You're being pretty much as still and controlled as you can possibly be. So I'm just going to slowly bring this clay up. Okay, so now it's a little bit taller. We probably won't really get this quite this high tonight, I would guess. We might be able to, some of us. But if you get about this high, then we can start opening the clay. Right now, it's a cylinder, right? It's kind of like a cup shape. It's a nice little mug form, put a handle on it, whatever. But if I want to open it into a bowl, instead of squeezing in my fingers together, I'm going to just gently push out with my inside fingers. I'm still containing and using a little bit of pressure with my outside finger here, because if I only use my inside hand, it's just going to get really weak and it's going to want to collapse. So I just want to contain it and kind of support that wall that's coming out with my outside hand. So it's going to look a little bit like this. The first one I won't get all that much, but I'm going to open it up, just pushing with my inside hand, pushing outwards. Now we're getting a little bit more of a V shape. If I push more at the bottom, it's going to open the bottom. If I push more at the top, it's going to open the top. So if you end up with something like this happening tonight, and you're like, how do I make it more bowly? You know, how do I make it more curved at the bottom? Just go to the bottom, push out on the bottom. Right now I'm going to go all the way up. Right, my rim is kind of crappy looking right now, so I'm again just going to compress that. And then I can kind of play with the rim if I want to a little bit. If I want to bring it out, I can. If I want to bring it in, I can. So I can open it up like this. I can close it off a little bit more. Do some fun stuff like that. If I want to fold it all the way over and make a rolled rim, you can do that. So there's lots of fun things that you can do. We're probably not going to get quite into that tonight. I'm going to bring this rim back up just a little bit here for you, and then I'm going to cut this in half and just show you what the interior walls should look like. So when we start, all of the clay is at the bottom, right? We bring that taller and taller and taller. We want to keep the bottom still the thickest point. Same as a house, you want the bottom to be the widest structure, or yourself, if you were going to stand with a lot of balance, you would have a wide base. Same thing. The interior walls here are going to kind of look like a pencil tip when I open them up. So they'll be the widest at the bottom and kind of come up like this. If they end up thinner, lower, it's going to not be able to support that weight that's above it, and your clay will tear off. So if I just cut this in half, and you look at the inside walls here, see how they're thicker here and thinner up here, right? Thicker down here and thinner up here. We also, I pushed a little too far here. We want to leave a little bit more space at the bottom than that. I would say something more along these lines. You want to leave about that much clay at the bottom. Obviously you don't have x-ray vision, so you can't really see how much that is when you're just looking down at it, but just ask me and I can come over and help you. A couple more things just before we get started. Everything is very slow and controlled. You're gonna have to be relatively gentle when you're pulling your walls, but when you're centering, you have to use way more force and strength than you could possibly imagine, way more than you would think. And if you're not getting your stuff centered, push harder, way harder. That's one big thing. If you're feeling like your arms aren't strong enough, everything also should start from your body. So all of your body weight can really help with that. You don't need to get all your triceps in there and use that. You can really kind of fall on it a lot more with your body weight. If I was gonna get like if I was gonna hand you a big like pile of wood to hold or something, you wouldn't hold your arms out like this. You wouldn't have your elbows out like this. You would have your elbows tucked in, so you have a lot more control and a lot more strength. So definitely your weak hand elbow should always be connected to your body. Your strong hand arm can move out a little bit, but weak hand elbow pretty much shouldn't leave your body. On top of that, we did a few things where we hooked our thumbs, things like that. If I have my elbows disconnected and my hands disconnected, my arms can move and do whatever they want, and the clay will follow. If I have my elbows in, the clay can only move me this much. If I have my hands connected, now they work together and they can't move my hands separately. If they're not connected, they could do anything. If they are, they can go like this. So everything is very controlled and patient. I wasn't the most patient kid in the universe, but I'm a lot more patient now because I think this kind of forced me to be, because if you're not, you're gonna ruin your pot. So just be patient and do everything slowly. I'm gonna get some clay handed out to you guys here, and we will get started.
Okay.
If you are right-handed, your wheel should be... So that's why it's important to make sure that those back pins are connected.
Secured. Very secured.
That's okay. That happens almost every night.
Thank you. Got our clay over here.
You just pass that down.
Oh.
All good. These are a little small, so I'm going to get some bigger ones here.
Got our clay. Gosh, can't wait to get started. Okay, so
And this clay is nice and soft, so we actually won't have to probably use quite as much muscle. Last night, the clay that we were using was a lot more firm.
oh, it is pretty soft.
And it was much more difficult to pass that down.
It's gonna take us through step by step, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get it wet before you
think
stick it onto the wheel. It's kind of like, I'll get you the top. Yeah.
Okay,
So
good
don't
thing
use
we
any-
didn't get
sorry,
it
I should
wet.
mention that. It's similar to like a piece of gum. If you put it in a bucket of water, it probably wouldn't stick to anything. But if it's been
heard
like
a
a
thump.
little bit dried out, and it gets
Don't
like
play
really
with
tacky.
clay now. You guys should try
Clay's
this
gonna
out
do the
of
same
class
thing.
too.
So if it's super wet, it won't
I'm really
stick.
excited. I hope
This
we
clay
make a
is
good bowl.
so soft.
Soft clay is good. Like, make the brown ice cream more.
If you want to play with your foot pedal before you
Okay,
stick
let me
that
try.
clay on it, go for it. We are just going to pick one speed. Okay. We are just going to pick one speed and then lift our foot off the pedal.
Does that look like a brown clay emoji?
You don't have to have a foot on the pedal before it's going. What can happen if you're not experienced with having your foot on the wheel is you lean forward and the pedal goes forward and then you get your hands stuck and your pocket goes behind and stuff like that. I'm going to grab your
That doesn't sound scary at all. How do we turn it on? Oh, that's how we turn it on. Okay, the wheel is on. Oh yes, and Corgi is here too.
So yeah, if you're right-handed, your wheel should be going counterclockwise. If you're left-handed, it should be going clockwise.
If you're right-handed, it should go counterclockwise?
Yes. So stop it once.
Oh. Oh, because it has to go against your hand. I
The
see.
reason that we want it going counterclockwise,
Counterclockwise, okay,
or clockwise if you're lefty we always want the clay to feed through our hands. So if I'm working here, the clay is feeding through my fingers. If I'm working here, it's coming into them. It can bend my fingers and it's going to just get caught. So we want it to feed through our hands. All right, now. All right.
Girl,
Take
Play-Doh.
that piece of clay. Make sure your wheel
cut.
is stopped.
Okay, it's stopped.
Look dead center into your bat here. And just smack it down. You can give it a decent amount of force.
Oh my god, I'm really bad at aiming, so
If you're off center a
I'm
little
way
bit,
off center. Shoot.
what you can do is just push it right into the middle. Make sure you push down as you're pushing in as well.
Oh, there we
Otherwise
go.
it'll start to
Okay.
kinda get
We've
crazy.
salvaged it.
And then we're just gonna smush down the edges
Okay, this is
and
neat.
make
So
sure that it's sealed onto the wheel. When you push down the edges there,
There's so much
push
smacking
in a
going
little
on
bit
right
the
now.
sides too, just to make it come up a little bit. All right, I think we're all probably good there. Try to
Okay.
match my speed with your foot pedal and then gently lift your foot off of the pedal and it will keep spinning.
So is it like parallel to the floor, you would say, or
Not
what?
quite, no. Keep going. Tiniest bit faster, a little slower,
Uh oh.
a little faster,
This is hard.
a little tiny bit faster. That's probably good.
Okay.
Good, that's
How do you
good,
control
that's
that with your
good,
foot?
that's
That
good,
looks really
that's-
hard.
It's okay. That's okay. It's just a little bit. You should try to push it more into the center before you do it again. Just so stop it once and just
Yeah, I
swoosh it
took
into
my
the
foot
center.
off.
The faster it's, the more wobble it has. If you're going fast, it's really difficult to contain that wobble. If it's more centralized, it can go a little bit faster. Now I want everybody to just rest your hands on the clay. Feel how it tries to pull your hands, right? It's really sticky. This is why we need to get water on it constantly because it will try to pull your hands. It's never going to get this sticky again, but it will get kind of where it's not slipping through a little bit. So grab your hands, put them in your bucket, and bring that water straight to the clay, getting the clay wet. Feel how it slips through
this
your
feels so
hands
good.
now. Kind of feels kind of funny. Yeah, you want it to always feel like that. Now notice it's starting to get, you're getting slip on your hand. It's starting to get like not just water slipping through. Get more water on it once you feel that again. So maybe every 10 seconds or so. Again, if you have this slip on your hands, you can just scrape it off. I'm gonna get some more water on it. Now we're gonna cone up. Again with our weak hand in front and our dominant hand coming from our body. We're pulling in with our weak hand and pushing with our dominant hand. Squeezing everything to the center. And it will naturally, yeah. Now, if you have like, it's Brittany, right?
Yeah.
If you have like Brittany and your Amir, yours kind of looks similar. If you have it narrower at the bottom here, like I said earlier, we always want the bottom to be the widest point. If it gets narrower here, it's going to tear off. And then you're going to have to work with like only that much clay. So if it gets to there, just push it back down and then you can cone back up again. So now just try coning back up. Squeezing in, make sure that weak hand elbow is in your hip, as close to in your hip as it can be. If you need to really scoot in, that's okay. You want to push that back down before you come up any further. See, there's like kind of looks like a slice in the bottom. That's a tear in the clay. So if you bring that up anymore, it's going to rip off. So you want to push it back down. So if you're coning down, yep, just like that, and then contain with your weak hand. There you go.
I feel like I'm losing all of my clay
Let's try
like
to get up.
through this
We're coning
process.
up, and then once you get up into a coned up position, just hold off for a second. We're all going to cone down together.
Okay. There's a unicorn horn.
Hang on, both of you guys. So Shani, yours is real narrow at the bottom. It's got a lot of weight up here, and doesn't have much support down here. So we want to slowly, with quite a bit of pressure, but slowly, just controlled pressure, push down with our dominant hand on top, and then contain with our weak hand on the side. There you go. Push down and then hold. Kind of push it into your weak hand. If it's moving your weak hand a little bit, pull that weak hand in. You can wrap your pinkies around it. There. Now push harder with the top hand. Perfect. It looks to me like, I can't really see it, but it looks to me like you're getting that wobble out. There, yeah, you got it a lot better there. Now once you get down to a spot like that, where, you know, your clay might be close to that hockey puck, but it's still got some kind of mushroomy, all you have to do is, instead of pushing down from the top now, you're just going to gently roll your hand down the side, and then go all the way until your wrist bone here is touching the bat. Once that wrist bone is touching the bat with your dominant hand, start pushing in, and it will bring it back into this shape. Oh, sorry. So, yours is just kind of...
It's not centered. Mine's not centered. How do you center it? Oh my gosh, this is harder than I remember. I think when I was a kid, my ceramics teacher always centered it for us. Each time I go up and down, I'm losing half of my clay. I don't know if I'll have any clay left by the end of this. Look, we just lost another chunk of clay. What are we trying to make? Overall, we're trying to make a bowl, except I don't know if I'll have any clay left for a bowl by the end of this. Yeah. Maybe it'll turn into shot glass by then.
Oh, yeah, shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Your clay should always look glossy. If it ever starts to look kind of matte, get more water on it, and again, probably every 10 seconds.
I lost so much clay.
Yeah, we want to come up with it right now. So that's okay.
I'm not sure. Are you guys getting dizzy yet? I don't know how. Actually, now that I think of it, this is not a very.
Hey, what do we do?
I'm not sure if this is the
So
best thing to
trying
stream
match
because I
We're going
realized
up,
that
so squeezing everything
you guys
in, and
might
it will
be
naturally
getting very
come
dizzy.
up.
So
That looks great.
yeah, I didn't think about the logistics of this stream. I think 100 of you are probably super nauseous right now.
Real steady.
Cup is the easiest he showed, I think. That's true.
I thought we were making tofu.
I thought so too. I think maybe we're still centering.
Yeah, I thought we were.
The spinning is fine. Really? You guys have very high tolerance for like not getting motion sickness.
Now,
I think if I
something
kept
that's
watching
really,
this
really
spin on
important,
a screen, I would
like
get
I had mentioned at
sick.
the beginning there, make sure that every single thing that we do is very slow. Now, if I take my hands off the clay fast,
We good?
if I take my hands off the clay
That's good.
slowly,
I'm gonna
watch
show
what
you
happens.
back.
Nothing changes, right? Because the clay got a chance to get a full rotation through that motion that my hands were in. And so I worked all the sides of the clay. Now, if I take my hands off fast, I feel a little wobbler. I think maybe, I got it figured out. Awesome. Right?
then I'll
You end up
tell you
doing
guys
something
back.
kind of frantic, and the clay will respond to every motion that you do. So you want to do everything slowly because it's just going to mimic what you do. So I want to take my hands off very slowly like that game operator, and that will help. So we're getting up. Once we're up, a little bit high like this. Once we've squeezed it in, just hang out in this coned up position until everyone gets there, and then we're going to cone down. It's really tough for me to kind of help everybody individually when we're all at different stages.
Slow down?
Yeah. There you go. A little faster. There you go. And I have more, that's okay. I have more clay here too. I started with a bigger amount. So if you're not getting this tall, that's not a big deal. You know what?
Yeah, I was like,
That looks great.
I
Those
feel
look
like I've
great.
lost half of my clay. Like, look at the side of my bucket.
back in.
Yeah, look at how much clay I lost, guys. Oh my goodness.
So just hang out there. Don't go any further yet. We can fix that. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but we can. So Sean,
my
you're looking
hands.
great. Just squeeze the top now. Instead of coming from the bottom, squeeze it at the start halfway up. And make sure you got more water on it. Your hands should be like dripping. Just squeeze harder. That looks great, Brittany. I wouldn't go any further right now. That looks perfect. Just hang out there for a second.
This bucket is going to be
Okay.
clay by the end
I
of
think
it.
you look pretty good here. Now that we're all coned up, some of us a little higher than others, and it's not a big deal. This is great. Once we're here, we want to take our dominant hand palm, and we're not pushing down right on the tip of the tippy top. See where there might be like a ridge? So if the top is flat, go to the widest point in the top where there's a ridge, like, see this ridge right here? I want to put my palm right on that ridge. And I'm pushing down and forward, kind of like I'm honking a horn. With my weak hand, just holding it here in front, very steady. And I'm containing that clay. So with my top hand, I'm pushing down like this. If you feel a wobble, just keep going. Weak hand is just holding her steady. Once I get it down low enough, I'll put my weak hand thumb pad on my palm. I'll push down with that as well. It gives me a lot more control. So with my left hand, it kind of looks like this. I'm grabbing the clay almost, and I'm pushing down with this part. With my dominant hand, I'm still pushing down with my palm.
Okay.
You can just go for it. Do the same thing. You're just gonna have to be a lot more steady than the rest of us. Push down. Push down. So remember, we're taking our top hand up top. Yep.
Woo!
Down and away, and make sure you're
Now we have our hockey puck.
Okay. So we're not having to
So
contain.
don't move this at all. I'm moving you. Don't let me move you. Don't let me move you. Stronger. There. Now push real hard here. Harder. Harder, 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 harder. Off slowly.
Thinking of macaron. Oh, that sounds so good, Silver. Now I'm thinking of macaron too.
You like? You just push a little bit harder to keep both hands up.
Okay.
Okay, so you can open it up already. I'm gonna get that open foot.
My hands are so clayey that if I try to turn the camera around to show the instructors, I'm scared I will permanently damage my camera.
We're looking good. We just want to get down. That looks great. Don't go any further. You're in a perfect spot. You can push down a little bit more. Here, me too.
Sorry. Like
If there is a little bit of wobble in your
my gum fell out.
clay, you know, something like this, or it's not like crazy, but there's a little bit of
I'll
wobble.
catch that later.
All you have to do is just hold that left hand real steady. Put that elbow into your hip. Hold your left hand as steady as you possibly can. We're pushing down and in, kind of on the side now, even a little bit with our dominant hand. So that ridge that I have is now here, right? That ridge isn't on top. Wherever that ridge is, we want to push in on that ridge. So I'm pushing down and in with my dominant hand, and I'm also pushing down with this part of my weak hand, with my thumb pad here on my palm, and I'm containing with my fingers here.
Yeah, I have clay all over my tripod right now.
Great spot. It's almost perfect.
Let's check out how Corgis is going too. Corgis is looking fantastic as well. Did you take a ceramic class in high school?
High school, yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, that sounds so fun. I wish I did that. I think it was one of those like super popular ones where like it was a lottery system and you'd have to like click it really fast to get it.
Yeah, we did like ceramics. Oh, there's a cooking class too. That one was pretty good.
There was a cooking class?
Yeah, we had a cooking class.
Wow, you went to fancy high school. Cooking sounds so fun. Yeah, but this place is really cute. It is called Throw Clay Pottery Studio. And I really want to show you what it looks like actually. It's very pretty. I just don't want to like, how do I flip my camera without touching it? Yes, I didn't. Irene didn't want her to go. It just fell. I'm sorry. I just like got startled because of the motorcycle and then it fell out. Clay flavor gum. Ew. Yes, he is really cute. The place? Oh, the instructor. Oh, you think the instructor is cute? Oh, okay. I will not communicate that to him because I don't know how to communicate that without making him feel awkward. I'll just say, well, actually, I don't know if he knows the concept of streaming, so perhaps not, but let me try it.
All right.
Oh, we're getting back. We're getting back.
No, that's actually better than mine. It does have a tiniest little outline, so let's get it better.
Yay. Here's Corgi. Did you dye your hair again? Really? How does it look like your dyed hair never shifts?
Oh.
Mine's like all grown out now.
When's the last time you dyed your hair though?
A year ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
A year
it's
ago?
been a while.
Yeah, if it's a year ago, I feel like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the last time I dyed my hair was 6 months ago.
Oh, really? But it looks like you just got it done. It looks so good.
I think I'm gonna grow it out. I always go back and forth.
Yeah,
Wait,
me
my
too.
wheel stopped spinning.
Oh, I think it's flat now. I think you have to like re-step on it. How did that happen? Did I step on it?
No, I don't think so. Maybe I stepped on it.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Oh, I made it go too fast.
Watch the whole thing just fly off.
Shoot, I should have taken off my ring before.
Oh.
Look at what happened to my ring. Uh-oh. Run out of gas? Oh no, it's good. I think maybe I accidentally stepped on it. Having clay on your hands actually feels very therapeutic. You know how there's like clay face masks? I just want to go like, but I think that would not be a good idea. Oh shoot, now I got clay all over
We
my
all look fantastic.
clay
Now,
mud buddies. Mm-hmm.
One really nice thing, we want to push that down actually a little bit more before you go on. You're just going a little too fast. One really nice thing about the clay that we're using is it's really
Use a
soft.
different clay, very
Some
true.
classes, this is all recycled clay, and so this is clay that we have. It's all scraps, right? And we put it all in a bucket, then we resaturate it, and so it turns into a slip. and then we set it out on plaster, and that will dry it out. And then once it gets to a reworkable state, we wedge it back up into a usable piece of clay, and then you can use it again. So it's a nice kind of eco-friendly practice, right? It's a lot of reduce, reuse, recycling in pottery. So we want to push. We're doing the same thing that we just did, but push down with the top hand as well.
Should we just go rogue and continue? Kind of. Should we just go on to the next step? I think you poke a hole and then you start, but then I don't want to be that bad student that doesn't listen to the teacher and then gets in trouble at the end. That's definitely me. Stop touching stuff. I know, I should just stop, but like I'm getting bored. Give you guys a
Okay.
whisk.
Once we're here, we're gonna open that clay up.
Okay, we're gonna open it up now.
You're gonna rest your dominant hand on the side. Make sure that that clay is wet. Resting our dominant hand on the side here. Rest your texting pad of your thumb on the top. And you can take your weak hand and start to push that in gently. Don't
we're
push
gonna
in
start
with
to
like
make
the
the
tip
hole.
of your finger. You can use almost this entire pad here and slightly pull back at you. If you don't slightly pull back at you, your thumb might get caught and spin. But if you're pulling down and towards you, just like a centimeter, then it will feed through your fingers. So look at my thumb. If I'm going straight down like this,
Having
that's a
nails is
no-go.
not helping.
If I have my thumb flat like this, and I'm pushing down with my thumb tip in the center, but the rest of it closer to me, it will start to open up a lot nicer for me. If it starts to get sticky again, just get some water in there, and then we're going to go all the way down to about a half inch to a quarter of an inch. If you have long fingernails and they're getting in the way,
They're definitely getting in the
you can
way.
use a sponge to push down.
Oh, okay, sponge. Oh, this is so much better. Okay, use a sponge. Yes.
And also, if you're kind of ending up getting like a lip like this at the top, you can just take any kind of crease, really any part of your hand or anything, you can use the sponge and just gently push that back down into the clay. It will just fill back in. Just slowly and gently push it back in from both sides. And you put your thumb on the inside and push it out with it too. There you go. Once you have that hole deep enough, some of us have already started to open it up. That's okay. Just don't go any further after you've opened it up. Yeah, just the hole. If you're opening it up, that's okay.
I might have made my base too thin.
If you're getting a
I guess
knob in the
we are
middle,
going to have a pot
push it
planter.
down with your sponge, and it will just spread that clay out across the bottom. Now, if your clay is wider, like mine is, and it's not in that volcano shape, especially if you've got a weak, narrow base, if your base is narrower than the top, we want to, everybody that is wider than a volcano, just gently get some water on the clay, make sure the clay is wet, and we're just going to gently, I'm wrapping around every part of this clay, so my fingers are being used at the front, my palms here on the sides, and my palms here on this side, towards me, and I'm just gently squeezing everything in back into that volcano shape, and we don't need to like close it off.
Oh, baby moth. Oh shoot, baby moth.
But we just want it to be angled inwards. If it's angled out, we're not going to be able to pull our walls very well. It's just going to want to get wider and wider and lower and flatter, and then just collapse it. So you actually, your base is too narrow to really kind of make that volcano shape. So you need to widen that base.
Okay.
So what we're going to do there is the same thing we just did with the centering, except with your thumb on the inside right here.
Okay, our
Yep.
pots is
Or
good.
you can use, I would say thumb on the inside.
We're making
And
progress.
now I'm going to watch me one.
How are you guys doing?
Thumbs on the inside just to make sure that hole doesn't close off.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to gently push all of this down.
With your left palm.
With my palms, yeah. Same thing that I was doing in the centering, but my thumb is just inside now. Make sure that that clay is wet.
How are you guys doing? This is comedy gold out of context. Oh my goodness, I'm kind of scared to read what you guys are writing now.
Perfect. So you're getting a lot closer. You just want to keep pushing
To get the base.
to make sure the base is wide,
Why are
because
we
otherwise
not-
it's going to really want to rip off away
Does
from
this
the
look
walls.
like a cigarette bin?
Push more with your
Oh, it
palm.
looks like a pot. It looks like a planter.
Oh, you're right now.
So far, no blunders. Yeah, I would say it's going pretty decent. I think. Your bowl is looking good, Irene. Thank you, gamers. Joystick. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Now this clay started out really soft, and the more water we put on it, the softer it's going to get. And the softer that it is, the less it's going to want to hold its shape. So we have to be pretty darn gentle when we're pulling our walls here. And if there is a wobble, don't try to fix it. The more you touch it, the more it's just going to get worse.
Man, this is really hard having nails.
All right.
Kind of worried.
Get it, man.
My walls are already really thin.
If there is a wobble in your clay, if you've already started to pull your walls up, just slow down for a second. Not because I don't believe that you can do it, but because if you end up finishing, getting closer to the end faster than the rest of us, I don't trust you to sit there and not touch your pot, and the more you touch it, the more it's going to want to fall apart.
Very true.
So just hang on for a second until we all catch up. If you do have a little bit of a wobble in your clay, I'm gonna get a wobble in my clay for you. Okay, so it looks kind of ridiculous right now, right? Because I pulled up too fast on one side. If I try to keep touching that wobble and fixing that, the more you touch it, the more it's gonna get worse. So it's difficult and it's gonna feel really weird. But if there is a wobble, just pretend like it's not there and literally just pull your walls the same way you normally would, and it will either figure itself out as you come up, or it will bring its way up just to the top and we can cut it out the top. If it's in the middle, we can't cut it out the middle. So we're gonna hook our thumbs. Watch this once, because I'm just gonna show you kind of how you get rid of that wobble. I'm gonna hook my thumbs, getting those rock stars on the inside, my pointer finger on the outside, and with my wheel spinning a lot slower than it was before, I'm squeezing in, and then I'm going to start slowly pulling my hands up, and I'm releasing my pressure gently as I get higher, because the thinner it gets, the less pressure we want to use. Otherwise we'll push through and rip it off. So see how that wobble went all the way to the top now?
Ooh.
Some of it's a little bit in the middle there, but I can just take this needle tool and cut that wobble right off.
Ooh. Problem solved.
So don't try to fix the wobble, just pretend like it's not there and it will fix itself.
Nice. I wish other problems in life were like that. Just pretend it's not.
If
there.
the
That's cute.
lip or your rim of your
my
pot
God,
is getting
oh my
really
God.
thin, remember to just compress that. I take my two pinchers with my weak hand, just hold them there. We're not squeezing, but just holding them and then resting another finger on top. So
Okay, this is gonna go
this
very
clay
well.
is really soft. That might happen. I would just rip that top part off and try to throw with a smaller amount of clay now.
Okay. Oh, we compressed it.
So you got to really release
Successfully
your pressure
compressed it.
slowly as you come higher, because if you keep that same amount of pressure, those walls are thinner when they're higher. And if you squeeze as hard as you did on the thick part, it's just going to want to tear in half.
Are you still using your two middle fingers, or are you using the?
Yep, I'm using really my middle finger on the inside and my pointer finger on the outside.
How do you get it up?
So start the wheel a little faster. Okay? don't just use one hand. Make sure my thumbs are hooked. I'm gonna put these two on the inside, yep. On the side at like 4 o'clock, yep. And then my outside hand with my pointer finger. Yep, but all the way starting from the bottom, and we're squeezing that clay from the bottom. Squeeze it until you feel like it's been squeezed a little bit, and then slowly come up. Really slow. It should take you probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 seconds to get all the way to the top. Now, if you're starting to get a wobble and it's getting pretty thin, we're getting to a point here where the more you touch it, the more it's going to hurt your pot, not do anything for it. So there's a lot to be said for loving your pot to death. Once we're here, you're really playing with fire. So I think we're pretty much all at a really good stopping point. If you're at a place where, like Shani, you're at a place where you're still closed off a little bit, and it looks like your walls are decently thick, I would assume. So if you want to open it up a little bit, you can. If you want to cut that wobble off the top, you can. If you want to keep it there, that's fine as well. Do you want me to help you cut it off, or would you rather keep it? Cut it off? Okay. And remember,
Playing with
you're
fire.
not supposed to be a pro tonight, and we do have another shot at this to make a second one. So I'm gonna let you do it if you want to, but I'm not gonna go from the top down. So I'm gonna go from the side end and piercing right below where that wobble is, and I'm gonna push it really slowly until it's all the way to the top. Like that, real steady, and I always hold my hand as well. Make sure this is gonna flip right out of your hands. It's like this.
Let's make it into a pose.
Ricky, that looks great. I wouldn't really try to do anything more with that.
Okay, maybe we leave it as is, guys.
If
What do you
there's
think?
standing water in the bottom
What do you
of your
guys
pot, take a sponge.
Small
and just
cactus pot,
squeeze
yeah.
The water out
I
of your
think this
bucket
can be a
and
cactus
pull that
pot.
sponge down to the bottom. Otherwise, it's going to oversaturate your pot will crack.
I kind of want it to be more narrow at the top, but now I feel like playing with fire is what the teacher told us exactly not to do.
Artistic stuff. Why
Oh,
do you
yeah.
be so skinny?
I think it was a mistake because I started pulling up the walls too much.
These are for like gravy.
Okay. Oh, wait. Maybe you should do what they said. He said with the wobble. Just pretend it's not there, and then, or just wait for the teacher to come and help us.
Wait, this is not even a wall. It's like a deformity. It collapsed. Get it a broken mouth.
Oh no.
Thanks, you know. There's wabi sabi.
Wabi what?
Wabi sabi.
Wabi sabi?
Like
No, what is one?
imperfection, like the Japanese pottery. It's like really popular.
I think that looks like a wabi sabi.
Grumpy.
Look. What do you guys think? I think that's a wabi-sabi. It's like a happy little mistake.
It's so grumpy right now.
No, it looks good. It looks like a little slush. It looks relaxed.
A happy mistake. I don't know if
Yeah.
Bob Ross would say it's a happy mistake.
Okay, I don't know what mine is becoming either. It's becoming a mushroom. And I think this is what the instructor meant in terms of why he's not letting us move on, because we're going to be doing random stuff to our pot and ruining it. And that is definitely what I'm doing. Try to make a vase, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, what happened?
But we'll just say this is a vase. And then you get tempted to try to make a lip, and that's where everything goes wrong. So I'm gonna just stop. Let's just stop. Huh, doesn't look half bad, right? Too tall for bonsai? Isn't this too short for bonsai? Happy face. Oh, you can't see. Okay. Just hang out with you guys. Small ponds I got? I actually have no idea how deep the pot is. Ooh, you guys want to see? Okay. Oops. That's how deep the pot is.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't even do with that because it's going to bump into that crap.
Should it keep spinning to keep shape? I think it can keep its shape after it's stopped.
Okay.
I think this is where I might get in trouble for not following instructions, because we're clearly supposed to make a bowl, and I haven't made a bowl, guys. I've made something very strange. Do you see how much clay I'm getting on my jacket? It's not good. Should have brought a mic. I like it. It looks good. Really? Oh, thank you. I mean, what would you say? This can be called a pot, right?
I think we're all at a great stopping point.
You can't see.
So you can, before you stop your wheel, squeeze out that water in your sponge. If there is standing water in the bottom, make sure you get that out, and then just give your bat another once over. Clean up the side of that bat. I'm gonna end up sticking some tape onto these bats later, and they won't stick very well. Otherwise. Now stop. You can stop your wheel. Shut up. Stop your wheel. You can take the bat off. Make sure you grab it from the side where it's connected to a bat pin. Otherwise, it's going to just snap off and it won't really come off. Make sure your wheel is stopped before you try to take it off. Set that bat down in front of you on this wooden table here.
Okay, this is where everything is gonna go wrong. Oh, okay. Okay, we're good. Whew, it survived.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is our little bonsai
It's
thing.
okay if you ended up with not having anything. That's fine. I can take that. Grab it from one of the sides. There you go. But, you know, again, you're not supposed to be pros at this. This clay is really soft, so it's easier to maneuver for the centering, but it's also, you have to have a pretty good touch to be able to work with this.
Okay, round 2, guys.
It kind of goes back and forth on whether it's too dry or too soft. So, if you have, your hands are all caked in clay, scrape them off onto your bucket. You can wash them off a little bit with your sponge. And then I'm going to pass some more of this clay down.
Does this wash off
Yes.
of clothes?
It'll
Okay,
come out
thank
of your
goodness.
clothes, no problem.
Because I got so much on my clothes right now. Okay, I should not have done that. That was a bad idea. Why did I do that?
I was just trying to get it off. This is not a smart idea.
Okay, guys, we're going to do round 2. Hopefully, round 2 is more successful. How satisfied are you with your first?
I think I made like an ashtray.
Hey, you actually like recovered it. Look.
Yeah,
Look,
look
guys,
at it.
this is our first creation. That's pretty good. The left one is Corgi's, the right one is mine. An ashtray? That's a very fancy, like heavy-duty ashtray. Probably lasts like a whole year.
How perfect is it? Okay, that's mine.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Oh
mine.
yes, that pot right there. That's Corgi's right there. Yeah, but we are just waiting for our second clay. Should not bring a mic next time.
So I wonder when people that are doing like whatever they want over there, I wonder how like.
Yeah. Do you think you sign up for membership?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, maybe you can sign up for a membership and then you can buy like pounds of clay and then you get access.
Hang out.
Yeah, like a gym membership. That would be cool. Yeah. Are any of you guys ceramicists or potterists? What do you call
Ceramics?
Ceramists? Are any of you guys ceramists? I saw one ramen bowl. Well, the ramen bowls are successful because that was actually the task for today, to make a bowl. I went rogue and I made a confused pot slash. I don't know what I made. Oh my
I
god!
thought it was be perfection in first try.
Wow, that
Where's
looks
the
really pretty.
Stick thing.
Oh, there's stick thing that I think
My
they didn't.
wrist got in the way, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, me too.
How did you push it down?
I used the sponge.
He's busy. I might as well just keep making mine better. Oh, he's back.
That's playing with fire though. When you keep touching your pot, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh whoa, that is gigantic piece of clay. Okay, we're getting our clay assigned to us.
There you go.
Okay, round 2, here we come. Do your arms get sore next day?
Not the next day, but they're kind of tired right now. That wedging is a workout.
Yeah.
That one there. This one? Yep.
Maybe used for pencils or pen. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Maybe you can use that as a small pencil holder. Wedges can be a workout. Yeah, maybe we can make this a workout strum.
I have ruined more pots than I could possibly count. So don't worry about it on your first one. That's just fun. It's supposed to not be the best thing in the universe.
Actually, for our first time, like we all did really good. I would say.
So this clay is a little bit softer, or not quite as soft.
Got our second piece
So
of clay.
that should help a little bit, but it is still pretty darn soft. So just be aware of that. You really got to be gentle when you're pulling the walls up.
Oh, you're right.
All right. Take that clay, look right at the
Okay,
center.
here we go. Smack number 2.
Smack it down. If it's
Oh,
not in the
okay.
center, don't peel it off. Just smush it into the center.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Oh shoot! I never get it in the center.
Smush those
Why?
edges
Do I
down
make
just
my
a little
life
bit,
harder?
just to make sure that it's on there. You don't need to smush it like flat, but just so it's not like super rounded. Now we can turn our wheels on. Match my speed again. exact same thing. So we're gonna feel a little bit, maybe a little bit better this time. Still not gonna be a pro, but you have to feel a little bit better now. So again, we're getting our hands wet, bring them straight to the clay, getting that clay wet, and then we're just squeezing everything to the middle. If it's going, if you're really struggling with it, turn your wheel down a little bit. If it's kind of like moving your hands around, that looks great with me. Just now squeeze more at the top, only on the top. If you're kind of squeezing like this to bring your walls up, that's okay, but you're only squeezing from two sides, so the clay is going to kind of go in this oval weird thing and doesn't really want to listen to you. So if you want to have your hands more like this, that's okay, but try to squeeze from a third side or even a fourth side from every direction. You don't have to use the same form of your hands as me. There's lots of different ways that you can do this. As long as you're getting your clay to cone up and it's the widest at the base to the skinniest at the top, you can do it however you want to. So you want to just push down and then real hard with your left hand. More water. Put your dominant hand on top. Yep. Like this. Okay. Pull in with your left hand and push in with your right hand. Super strong. Back with water. Yeah, so what's happening with a lot of us, when we're coning up, we're pushing in with our hands too open, and that's pushing in on the bottom. See? If I close my hands off, bring them in and squeeze, then that will end up squeezing it more into that cone shape. So if you're getting that mushroom, your hands are too open. Yeah, that's perfect. Once you're coned up like this, we can cone back down. So remember, we're taking that dominant hand, putting our palm right on top, and not pushing straight down, not pushing right on the tip, but if there's a kind of sort of a ridge, push down and forward on that ridge.
Lost my sponge.
Make sure that your left hand is there to contain. Once it gets low enough to where your left hand can kind of cover it fully, it ends up being more work with your left hand. So your top hand is pushing down until your left hand can kind of take care of it on its own. So my top hand, I'm going like this. Once it gets to even with my thumb pad on my palm of my left hand, then I end up pushing down with my weak hand like this. And I still end up using some pressure from my dominant hand, pushing in and down too, but I'm working mostly with my weak hand. See how curved my hand is? It's like almost like I'm grabbing it. It's not flat like this, like I'm shaking a hand. It's like I'm holding the whole amount of clay here. It should really be touching a lot of surface area of your hand. That's just fine. Let's see how we're real thin and wide here. Pushing too hard on the top. We're going to push on this ridge. Push this ridge in. And with the right hand as well. Push that ridge down. Don't put your hand on top of the ridge. Push into the ridge. Keep it in the breath. It's a lot closer. So we're trying to just get, after we've coned up, we're coning down, and we just want to get into this domed hockey puck with as little wobble as we can possibly have. So if you're at a spot where, you may be like this, that's really not all that bad. If you're a little flatter and it's still wobbling around, A lot of this is just for sure always making sure that that clay is wet, because if it's not slipping through your hands, then it is sticking to your hands. And if it's sticking, then it's getting pulled and it's not going to listen to your hands. We want it to filter through our hands real smoothly. So with my left hand here, I'm just being very steady. If this clay wasn't here, I would be able to hold my hand steady, right? But the clay is pushing my hand. Pretend the clay is not there, and that clay will just be as steady and controlled as you possibly can, because right now what's happening is the clay is moving you. We don't want to let the clay move us. We want to just be a still container holding real steady, and that clay will just fill that space that we have set out for it. Now, I could sit here with my hands like this all day, and I'm still having this wobble here. I could come back to it, and I could have my hands in the right position just fine, and it's still going to be there. But if I just push in a little bit harder, it will go. So being really still and really firm with a lot of force. You have to be very strong. If I've come around at all and kind of held your hands in place, we've gotten that wobble out, right? The only thing I'm doing is stabilizing your hands. So if you can be very still, I'm not doing anything special. That looks great.
Uh-oh.
I'm not doing anything special. That looks great, Sean.
Okay, he said it looks great. Good sign, good left sign.
It can, nope, that's great. That's perfect.
That was a very close call.
Shawnee, you're really close. See how your base is still a
How are
little
you
bit
guys
narrower?
doing?
Like this?
Sake cup?
With our dominant hand, well, with both hands really, you can still use your weak hand, but we just want to push in on this ridge, and when we push in on the ridge, it will naturally go down
Could use another
and
drink.
get more flat.
Are you guys
and
drinking?
it'll just end up getting wider.
Sideball.
So pushing in with your palm here on your weak hand, like this.
Don't get hurt by spinning player. Oh yes, that's a good idea. Thank you, Silver. Yeah, I need to just chill
If
and
you're starting to figure it out with just one hand,
stuff.
that's great. Add your second hand to add a little bit more control and bring that clay back.
see how others are doing.
So you want to push with this part right here. Not where I was, but just bring this here.
Margie's is looking good too. Ta-da!
See how that's kind of getting figured out now? Okay, look, you're not slow, you're not some water.
Art is an explosion?
Again,
Did someone say that?
exact same thing. Push down where you
My phone is so clay heavy right now. Maybe I'll come out of this like with a clay phone versus a clay pot. Because I just have so much clay. Keep those, yeah.
got a little bit of that
Maybe
wobble.
a fast learner. I might know, I'm just very impatient. And so I need to like remind myself, if the instructor said don't move on, I need to just like, you know, keep my hands tied and not move on and ruin my pot, because that's what I did last time. I want to make the one that the instructor made. That looks really pretty. Yeah. New phone case, clay phone. Yeah, that's what we're here to make, a new phone case. I really want to touch my phone, but I really shouldn't.
You want to get this down a little bit lower.
Good night, Machi. Teacher, can we please make fun of him? No.
Now it's getting a little
Orson,
hot.
you're gonna have to go stand in the
Down
corner.
this ridge on my top.
Gonna be a disaster. Would that work? Oh my gosh, 619 is tempting us. Come on, follow your guts.
Really close. See how this is going to come up here? So you just want to take that
Quote from my anime character Naruto. Oh, called Daedra. Ah, I see. What about a mug? Mug would be nice, except I don't know if they'll give us like a what do you call it? A handle. Oh, why can't I think of a handle? Yeah, a handle.
a little high. They even take your down hand and push it.
Piece for the handle. Maybe I can just combine all of. Actually, I have so much extra clay on the edge of my. Oh, is this my hair? I'm sorry, that is totally my hair. Maybe I can use this to. Nope, this is just clay. Okay, that's not gonna work. I don't know if the instructor will give me a handle by the end of this. Yeah. Because I've not been listening very well. Mug for Dennis? You know, one thing we have way too much of in our kitchen are mugs.
You guys are just the tiniest little amount out. If we can, just pushing this part right here, right here. You should push on this ridge. And on top, just see that?
See the things I do for you.
The purpose of phone case is to avoid your phone to break when fall. Yeah, then I mean, I guess the slimy clay will do the trick too. It's been recycled through their process again. Yeah, I think so. This clay is like not surviving. This is not gonna make for a good handle.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh,
It's still a little bit high, but
yeah.
it's not a big deal. You're doing a great job here. You just need to ride this palm all the way down until it touches the back. Because the top is really nicely centered, but this wobble, we want to get that figured out. So keep it up top, here. Yep, and then push in, and keep pushing, just lower, 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 lower.
It's almost our turn.
Over here.
Clay face mask anyone? Yeah.
Push in now.
If you want one, I'm here to help. Yeah.
So you're pushing only on the top of this hand right now. You want to push on this
I really
ridge.
hope I get to
Clay and mouth. Ew.
Still with the same formation of our hand.
No, thank you.
Take both hands
Why?
off
But
quick.
clay face masks are so
With your left
nice.
hand,
Come
you want to
on.
be pushing in with this
Clay
part.
hug,
Right
clay
here,
face
right
mask,
on that
anyone?
ridge. Feel that? Push in there. Hard, harder, 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 harder. And then pushing. So now it's getting up. So you want to push down with this top hand, but make sure these are crossed.
No, it
And then this thumb on top. There. This thumb up though.
Oh,
There.
by the way, guys, the dress fitting went super well today. So thank you so much for those of you who were on yesterday's workout stream. Yeah, I felt good when going into the dress, and I was just like
There.
happy
Off
with
slow.
where we are. I look good. There's something on your face. Oh my! I'm not gonna fall for that shirt.
Okay. Now we're going to start opening up this clay.
Instructor just ignored me.
We've got about 15 minutes. That's plenty of time. If we're touching it for more than 15 minutes right now anyways, you're just going to kind of get it ruined.
Yes, I do. I
And
have
one
two
thing that's
dresses.
really important,
One second.
again, we're not going
it's
fast
May
at
20th,
all.
Friday.
One really good quote that I like is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So if you do everything slowly, you're going to do them smoothly. And if you do them smoothly,
Yeah,
then
everything
they
will
will
be
happen
fine.
fast.
Oh,
But if you
thanks,
try to
Adam.
get frantic and go too fast,
Your words of
you're just going to be
encouragement
trying to
yesterday
correct
were
all your
very helpful.
mistakes that you're making by going too fast. So let's take our hand, rest
here
it
we
on
go.
the side, rest that thumb on top, and push down into the clay here. Once you've got in maybe up to that first knuckle on your thumb there, it's going to get too dry, so just get some more water on it quick. And then you can push all the way down, and you're probably going to push, you know, an inch or an inch and a half down. And don't be scared, you can push pretty hard. Just push harder. And use your other hand to help you push. Push that thumb down, there you go. If you are opening your clay up already, that's okay, but just don't go any further after it's been opened. Because right now, what you're doing when you're opening it is you're making those walls, and they're getting thinner as you're opening it already. So if you keep going at it, they're going to get thinner and thinner and thinner. Now, once we have that hole pushed down, make sure that, you know, it should probably go, if I rest my thumb this knuckle right here that's connected to my palm. If I rest that on the edge, my thumb should be able to wrap around, and it should be about that deep. You know, like if your thumb is only this far in, if it's only this deep, you got to go deeper. We want it to be, you know, an inch or so deep. Now, we're gonna pull that thumb out at the bottom, just making that floor of the pot. So I'm really only pulling it out at the bottom, and I'm making a floor there. So that you're kind of flattening out the entire bottom. And when that happens, it will get wider, and we're starting to make that wall happen. It doesn't matter. Whatever is most comfortable for you. I use my thumb. Sometimes I'll use my 2 Rockstar fingers. Sometimes, yeah, it's kind of between those two is what I use. If you want to use your sponge, you can. Once you have it widened out like this, you want to bring it back in. Just it doesn't have to go crazy in. It just needs to be angled in, not angled out.
How do you bring it in?
Make sure your hands are wet. When you have your entire palms, both of them, touching all of the surface area of the clay, it's going to start taking that water away from the clay a lot faster, right? Because you're getting all that surface area and it's taking all the water off. So just make sure we're keeping that clay wet, because it's very simple to kind of get to dry quick, and then it'll start to get a wobble. Sherry, right?
Yeah.
You might want to just close it off a little bit. And at this point, we want to have our wheels going a little bit slower for the pulling of the walls, because it's real tough once there's a wobble to fix it when the walls are there. All right, we're going to take our thumbs, our dominant thumb on top. Sherry, you might want to slow your wheel down a little bit. And actually, you're really close to finished there. You've got, so everybody take a look at Sherry's pot. That's pretty close to where we want to finish. Now, if we're working with about a pound of clay, maybe a pound and a quarter of clay, if we spread our walls any further than that, the clay is going to get super thin and super weak, and those walls will tear, they'll collapse, they won't be able to hold their shape. So that width and that height is a pretty good place to be. What you can do when you get there is maybe do a little bit more shaping. So if you wanted it to be a little bit more bellied at the bottom, you would push out a little bit more at the bottom. You can clean up your rim. If you want to open the rim a little bit more, you can. But once we get there, there's not any further that we can take our clay. It's all just about the shaping. Slow your wheel down there though, Sherry. When it's going that fast, if it's that thin, it just wants to tear in half. So hooking those thumbs, Rockstars on the inside, pointer on the outside, and I'm squeezing my fingers together. My hand on this side, my dominant hand is squeezing in, my weak hand is squeezing out, and they're pinching into each other. They're working together to pinch in and pull those walls up. Make sure you release your pressure slowly as you come up. Just like that. Yep. Brittany, that looks great. It's getting pretty wide, so it's going to be really difficult to pull your walls up more. You can close it in a little bit. Just be, well, it's, see, if you look from the side, it's already pretty bellied out. So you can either kind of bring it back in, or you're at a pretty good like stopping point. You can't reattach it.
Oh no.
So I can help you bring it back
happens.
in, but it's kind of just going to end up being more of like a shot glass.
Okay.
Do you want me to help you do that?
Sure.
Okay, so take that off. Turn your wheel back on.
Okay.
Go pretty fast with this time. All right. Now you just work on a smaller amount.
Can I slow it down?
Yeah, definitely. About as fast as.
You should help me. I accidentally like smushed in one side, and so I've
So you got a little wobble?
Yeah.
That's okay. Just pretend like it's not there.
Right, and then
But you're already getting pretty thin here, so I wouldn't go too much further.
Okay.
You can open it up, but you've got all of the weight pulled from the bottom. So you can pull it out, but don't pull it any further up, and slow your wheel down a little bit.
Okay. Slow wheel.
Yeah, probably about like this fast.
Uh-oh. Oops.
Don't touch it while you're messing with the speed right now.
Oh, I see.
That's
Oh, yeah.
probably good.
It's fast. Okay. Whew. He rescued our bull, guys.
The rim is pretty thick, so you can literally just squeeze that part and that.
Squeeze it like.
Yeah. Same way, if you want to use whatever gives you the most control.
Okay.
So I would use 2 hands. If you want to squeeze it with just your pinchers here, you can, but make sure you stabilize that hand. Hold your hand with whatever hand.
And just make sure it's nice.
Make
and
sure that
tight.
you're very stable.
And I just pinch it.
Yeah, just gently pinch it. And then go down to that ridge there and pinch that ridge. Alright, now you're getting dangerous. I wouldn't do much more with
My
it
pants
there.
got so wet.
Stuff. And then if you want to open it up, you can. If you like that shape, you can keep it there. At this point, it's just a design preference thing. Again, if you touch it, the more you touch it right now, the worse it's going to get. Unless you're kind of... You guys are doing really, really great. This looks awesome. I'm very surprised. Yeah, look at that. You went from shot glass to Euro. Yeah, that's awesome. Does anybody have that? Never mind.
Is it okay if you cut off the wobble at the top for us?
Do you know how to do it?
No,
Okay,
could
so
you do it?
You want me to do it?
Yes. Is the speed good?
That's okay.
Oh my gosh, this looks so scary. Woo, thank you.
Yep. So everything that we just learned, that's pretty much all the techniques that you would need to make anything in clay. We've learned how to collar in. We've learned how to open up. We've learned how to center. We've learned how to pull our walls up. So let's say I want to make a vase, right? I'm going to start with this cylinder, just how we just did. I'm going to open up wherever I want it to be opened up. So if I want it to be like a belly on the bottom, I'll open that up here. So I'm just pushing out on the inside like we just did. Now once I get to a good width, I'm going to collar this part back in, right, that we already did. And then once I collar it in, it's going to be thicker, so I can actually pull this clay up a little bit more. I'll collar it back in again.
This is better than my edition.
So now we're getting into a little bit more of a vase shape. It's thickened up again, so I can pull those walls a little bit more. Maybe I want it to be there. Do I like it like that? Do I want to flare the lip out?
Whoa.
Right? I want this to be a little bit more bulbous.
Whoa.
That's pinching it?
Yeah, it's so crazy how fast it happens.
This is a funny thing. I had a guy come to my high school when I was in high school, and he did a demo, and he said, I'm just going to give it, he said, I'm just going to give it a breath of fresh air, so watch this when it happens.
Whoa.
Right?
Ah, that's how they do it.
You can do that if you want
Wow.
to. And then actually,
Can I do a mini version of that?
one fun thing. Oh, it's delicious. One thing that seems kind of goofy, but you can, if you want to make this feel a little bit more bulbous, if I push in, Well, it didn't really work because these are a little too thin. But if this was a little bit thicker and bigger, I could push in here. Doesn't really matter, but you can play with it a lot. Do some fun.
Oh. Okay, I'm definitely not doing that.
Once we're finished here, let's take our bats, pull them off, and set them on that table in front of you. I'm just going to go over the finishing things that we have to do here. We're going to do a few different things. We have some housekeeping items, and we have just like a little bit of cleaning. So we're each going to clean our own wheels. We're going to clean the table here that the wheel's on. We're going to clean the wheel top, the wheel head, and then we're also going to clean the splash pans, and we'll clean the buckets. It'll go pretty quick, maybe 5-10 minutes. We're also going to take both of our pieces and bring them over to this first table here. So let's pick those up first. Bring them over to this table and set them down. I'm going to put some tape on them. You'll end up writing your first and last name.
I feel so bad for this guy.
Oh, what is that?
The chunk that.
Oh, shoot. No, I want to make it into a vase. Come on, please.
So, with our buckets,
This is a strange
take that bucket and after you grab your pots and put them over there, take your bucket, take your sponge, you can bin that we can put our wet clay scraps.
Okay, guys, I think this is as weird as it's gonna get. Okay, I like the first one better. Okay, time to clean up now. Time to clean up. Time to clean up.
Yeah, you can throw that in that bucket. These big
Okay, I don't really
rectangle
love this
sponges
one, but
work
that's
really
okay.
nicely to clean up your wheel head. You can clean the side of the wheel head as well.
Okay, gotta clean. Okay, we're pouring all of the dirty water. And also take my mic out.
So just like Brittany's doing here with her water, just use your hand to screen, pull the water out, and then come on over to this bucket and pour your extra clay in here, in this big one. There are also rectangle sponges right here. Those are really nice to clean with. You can set your bucket down in front of you after you've dumped that clay. There, we're going to clean the wheels first, and then we'll go over to the sinks quick and clean the buckets.
Not a good
There's going to be standing water in your splash pans as well.